I went through the entire YouTube portal and Google portal to get to you the best way to do a case study. Today, I'm going to show one of the examples of how to do a case study and demonstrate to you and give you pointers for the perfect recipe of a perfect case study. Why? Because we need to understand the design from its process to its finishing stage. Let's get to the definition of a case study: a detailed examination of the creative process and results of a specific project. That could be a story, an effect or an impact, and a relationship it has on its surroundings. I hope this makes sense to you. As an amateur designer, you need to understand what a professional designer went through when he was thinking to do that design, how he conceptualized his space, how he brought his ideas to reality. This is the reason we do a case study, to get into the shoes of a professional designer. As we all know it, every design comes with its story. How do you analyze that entire story? How do you color code the plans and drawings given by the designer? How do you understand best that what the designer had in mind when he or she designed the space? Now, this case study recipe can even be applied to your own projects. When you are doing your own design project, the process is very important. As they all say, the process is much more important than the destination itself. The first question arises, where do I get the perfect case study from? Well, I have solved that problem already for you. Arch Daily is the perfect platform for finding international level case studies, one of the most visited websites by interior designer and architecture students as well. Now, I would like to start with very simple parameters. These are some of the parameters. Well, you can definitely take a screenshot. If not, I have already attached the link to the description and have a look at them. Apply to your case studies. So the first parameter that we have is introduction to the client profile and the user. So this you will go ahead and find on Arch Daily itself. Now on Arch Daily itself, you will find an interface looking something like this, and you will go ahead and see what is the project introduction like, what is the area of the project, who are the clients, and what were the requirements. Now sometimes it's not mentioned whether who was the client and how did they go about it, but some places, especially in residential, you could probably just assume that these were some of the clients, and the project profile was something like this, the area was so and so square meters, and there were certain requirements of rooms which were there in the client brief. Sometimes some projects will have these requirements which are very simple. You need to just chalk them down in bullet form. Now, one thing that one should always remember is a case study is always done in bullet points only. Why? Because honestly, nobody wants to read a paragraph, and if they want to read a paragraph, they could just go to the website and read the paragraph itself. You being a designer, because you are analyzing the project, you have taken that case study into account. It should be in bullet points only. Next, we have an analysis in terms of zoning. This For this you will only require a set and a series of maps, a series of diagrams, and if you have drawings which are already available in your case study, then there's nothing like it. So I feel a very efficient method of doing zoning is basically just color code your zoning plan itself. So what you could do is you could probably just chalk out certain areas and just state spaces. So you could use different colors for the same, saying that these are different spaces within the area, and these are some certain access points, and probably just color them, and all these gimmicks you could do while in the plan. The second most important aspect would be understanding the circulation of the space. So one very easy method again to understand the circulation of a space would be just understanding through a circulation diagram. So something like this, because there are certain spaces here, how do you access the certain space from one point to another? Say for example, I'm entering from this side, so am I accessing the point from here, and from here maybe I'm branching out to these two spaces, and from here maybe I'm branching out to the next and to the next, and then I'm going ahead. So this certain forms sort of a linear pattern. So when you do such sort of point plus line diagrams, this will help you understand the connectivity of the space and the zoning of the space. Now you've already zoned the space, wherein you've already colored spaces which are probably open. You've already colored certain demarcated certain green zones. So this is the way in which you need to sort of analyze the designer's plan. The idea is not to understand and just do the plan and show the plan. The idea is to actually color code the plan, understand its nitty gritties. So you could definitely do something like this on your plan itself, and this can be done in PPT or Canva as well. So here, if you can just go ahead and understand the column grid of the area, say these are certain columns, so you need to make these series of maps where you're understanding the certain requirements of that space, wherein you're understanding how the designer had positioned the plan, how many kinds of overhangs did he give, and what were the surroundings like. So basically, overall, you're just understanding how the plan is sort of spaced. What is there's a word called as spatial configuration. How has the designer tried to configure the plan? How has the designer planned spaces is something that you have to understand here. And in the next segment, in the next plan, you can repeat the same plan again. In the next plan, you could just go ahead and understand if there were any you can go ahead and make a legend, something like this. If there were any private zones, and you could use different colors for this. If there were any semi private areas within your space, so these you can mark in dotted. Say for example, this is a semi private area. Say for example, this is the completely private zone. So what you're doing here is you're adding layers to your case study, and you could show like a series of maps, that is series 1, that is your drawing plan. Then maybe series 2 is your second plan, which is also the drawing, but you have understood uh, zoning in the first plan. Second, you understood private and semi private spaces. So this is something which you can apply in your design as well. Here you understood the surroundings and the existing grid and the spatial configuration. Now it's very easy to just write the spaces down. Say for example, living and dining, which is probably open to the outside, and you could just color code it. And second, there are say bedrooms. So it's very easy again to very straightforward, straight up teach it to a layman. So there's this book which I had read recently, and it's a very good book. uh, so it said that if you can explain your design to your grandmother, I think that's where you have done a perfect case study. So by just looking at the case study, one should be able to understand in very layman terms. Analysis in terms of zoning we've done, individual rooms, that is we did our spatial configuration, circulation and connectivity we did through up the point and dash diagram, wherein we understood whether the pattern that we have come up with is linear, or the design is like a branched design, or is it a very connective design. So what different kind of point and line configurations that have been applied to that case study, to or to that plan, is what we understood in this diagram. Next, very very important according to me, is activity mapping of that space. Basically, what is the use of that space multifunctionally, how does it work, and what are the different emotions that have been attached to a space. Now in this, you could probably talk about the theme of the entire area also. You could probably talk about the surroundings. If your design is sort of dependent on the way surroundings work and it's connected to your surroundings, you can definitely go ahead and add this aspect. Now this is the roof plan of that site. So here is the time when you can actually work on activity mapping. Activity mapping, simply what you can do is you can understand how many people were there. Say for example, there are like 3 people living. all three people I have marked in different colors. Now at different times of the day, say morning, say evening, and say afternoon. So what are the different aspects in which these number one, number two, and number three people are using that space? Say for example, there are some work from home ideas which you can apply. Putting it in very simple terms is that, if there are three people, that is, if you understand, say for example there's a father, and say for example there's a mother, and the third one being a kid. So to understand this, you can imagine that the father is probably has a work from home setup, and the mother probably has her own baking setup, and she hence requires, the connection to the kitchen or the connection to the dining, and the kid probably is studying. So basically, if is there any connection between the three, how they are using the spaces? Say for example during the morning, there's a lot of hustle, so all three of them are sort of in that space. Then you can make another drawing wherein, where you're talking about the evening, wherein they all come together and sort of, spend time in the dining or the drawing room. So maybe your dots shift here because they all want to go by the pool. And if it's in the afternoon, it's very sunny, they are indoors. So this is where, your all three dots will shift inside, that is your indoors, and probably they're working at that time or they are resting at that time. So in this process, what you're doing is you're understanding the different emotions that have been attached to that space. Or if there are not emotions, and if nothing is, sort of written in your case study, it's always best to just assume that, maybe there are like a family of say four who are using. Sort of assume that these other spaces, the way these spaces are used, say for example there's a very, elaborate gaming setup in one of your residential case studies. So the most used gaming setup will be by say person A. Say person A is going to use the setup the most, and he will be accommodating that place during the afternoon. So this is some of the ways in which you can understand the case study. Say for example there's a work from home setup, and that work from home setup is used by person B the most. That is only during the mornings because the work gets over by afternoon or evening. So that is the space that is used by that person. Similarly, the same space can be used by person A during the evenings. So how does this multifunctional aspect work is something that you really need to work on. All our spaces, in especially interiors and architecture, we concentrate on the aspect of multifunctionality. Why multifunctionality? Because at the end of the day, each space has to be used very, very efficiently, especially if you're a designer in Mumbai or a metro city, say Bangalore or Mumbai. There is anyway a space shortage, space is scarce. So there the aspect of multifunctionality, that is three people, using the same space, very, very differently during different times of the day, and that study becomes extremely crucial here. So I hope you all are getting the gist of this. Second most important again is understanding the context and the climate of that space. Now that's the way, your windows will behave, what side to have your windows on, what is the orientation of your structure, overall orientation. Is it east facing, south facing, north facing? Where is the sunlight coming from? Where do you need more windows? Where will you need, cross ventilation also comes into aspect. So understanding this again, you again go to the plan. In this aspect, the north becomes extremely crucial. So first what you do is you mark the north, understand where it is facing and how you have placed your structure. So why the structure is placed in this way becomes extremely crucial. Next, what you do is you simply put how, the breeze is entering. Say this is a closed, so because we have a window here and because we have a window here, it's very easy that there is cross ventilation going on here. Again, there is cross ventilation going on here. So if you see, the north side sort of is kept open, so for the, the air to sort of ventilate. At the same time, say for example it's the northern hemisphere here, so you have to understand the surrounding and the climate of that. Say for example this is your south facade, here is where you'll get the most sort of heat. So that is the place, because this is north and they need more sunlight. That is the reason they have kept this entire thing open, so that they can get in more light from here. So these are some of the strategies which you can apply, and very simply with the help of a very very efficient diagram that I have done here, that understands the idea of, again, orientation, which is crucial. Second is your ventilation. And third, where is your light coming from? Very, very important is where is your light coming from. These are the spaces which are most affected by the light. And secondly, these are the spaces which are a little lesser affected by that light. So by this simple diagram, you could put out your ideas. And again, these diagrams can be definitely done on Canva or PowerPoint as well. They are both great tools by which you could do, or you could simply do it the way I'm doing it if you want to do a very simpler case study and make it presentable. Spatial analysis, that is proportion study. Proportion study is basically understanding the furniture, the heights, the sizes. So the best way to understand proportion is doing sections. So if sections are available, very good. What you do is again do zoning. Say for example this is the pool, and then this is sort of your partially open space which you can mark, and then this becomes your actual existing structure, which again you can color code, and also at the same time just understand what the furniture is like. So you decode it in such a way that you are even understanding the furniture. You have this sloping roof kind of a thing, and then you have what kind of spaces do you have. So what you could go ahead and mark is, say dining is here, then you have your living here. So you could go ahead, write this down, also understand very nicely what are the heights. So because dimensions are already mentioned in this case study, all you have to do is just highlight them a little bit. As I've already mentioned, the grandmother theory, your grandmother again should be able to understand your case study very well. So putting it in very simple and very layman terms, you have to understand this case study. At the arrow of your natural light and ventilation, how it's going on, how it's working, and how these spaces are behaving. So if you can see, I have made these sort of cross ventilation arrows as well, and these are some of the green spaces. This is your swimming pool, and how the connectivity is going on is something what you can understand from this. The most important person for a good proportion study is a human scale. So if a human scale is not available in your case study, I want you to like literally add this human scale just to understand what is the proportion that the human scale is going through, and what is the scale at which your drawing is made. Looking at this section, you could definitely go ahead and analyze what the slope of this roof is. Why is that slope, roof at this angle? Because to simply understand, maybe the area is in Serbia, so it probably is snowing there. So to understand that what is the overhang that is required, and what is what part is cantilevered. So if you see, there's a pergola here, and again we have a human figure here. So just to understand the scale, again here you could use this, and see here also they have a human scale, just to tell you that these are the spaces which probably are a little lower, and these are the spaces which are a little higher. We've understood this very very efficiently through a case study. Again, all you need to do is just color code it. Say for example, these are your spaces which are above, these are your covered spaces, and this is a clearly a mezzanine area. Very efficiently have understood this space, and you have sat and analyzed these spaces. Push your ventilation diagrams here as well. So I think these sun path and ventilation lines can be added all throughout, just to highlight what is the natural light quality of the area, just to highlight what is the ventilation and the light that the area is providing. So all these things you can understand very well from a drawing. So as I've already said, it's not just about how you're just adding up case studies, or you're just making putting up some videos or putting up some photographs. It's not to make a collage. The idea of the case study is to actually analyze what the designer had in mind. So for that, you need to even read through the text here. Now, very simply put, I think I have a few texts which I have downloaded. So again, all this information, what I'm saying is, it's literally from here. So say the pitched roof creates sort of a night zone in the gallery. So all these small pointers is something that you have to highlight and write it where your case study diagram is. So right beside your case study diagram that you have made above, you need to start adding these points. Say for example, this is a a more comfortable ladder was the idea when they wanted to add a ladder. They also wanted to make a sort of a facade envelope. So all these things, keywords is something that you have to highlight here. Read this and add pointers. Again, not to forget, always work in bullet points. Nobody wants to read a paragraph. Nobody has the time and the energy to go through your entire paragraphs of case study. Next in our case study is what we have is materials, textures, lighting, mood, look and feel. Again, extremely important. Now this can be simply understood from these images. And images, again, you just don't have to add these images. We all know the grandmother idea, wherein you have to mention whether this is wood or what kind of wood is it, and you have to mention that there is a niche here that they have created. You have to mention that there is a mezzanine level here. Again, you have to mention that this is the sort of the living room area, the living area, and you have to mention that there is sort of an open kitchen concept. So all these things can be very well analyzed from the image itself. Going ahead, you can understand how this hierarchy is working. See the way they've done the landscape. So I want you to go and analyze this. Again, not to hamper the images. The idea is not to spoil the images. The idea is simply to understand that they have done some kind of landscaping, and they have a sloped roof. So this is something that I'd like you to understand. And also I think somewhere in the text it was written that this is some kind of wood, water resistant wood. So I want you to go ahead and write those pointers here down. Water resistant sort of facade. So always understand, a text plus image will always make more impact than just an image and just a text. So always attach your text along with an image. Now if you see, it's very easy to understand what the theme would be like. So this is sort of a Japanese theme, and again, it very sustainable concept. So these are some of the ideas that you can just jot them down. If you see, there's a sloping area here, so you could just probably write that this is the sloped area, and this is your, again, your kitchen. So it becomes very easy to understand. And if you see, there's a lot of pop of colors that is used, of say neutral palette, wide open, long wide windows have been used. So again, not to mention, whatever you see is something that you have to just jot them down. Notice everything that is there, and sort of very minimal as well. So these are some of the ideas that you can just directly just write them down along with your case study and text, to make it more efficient. A good pool which they've come up with. Here you have sort of a porch which they have given right outside. Again, a very nice open sort of a window with a nice pergola. All these things is something that you have to notice and write it down. This is like inside outside theme. Next is your services and kitchen. So if there are kitchens and bathrooms, and there is some information that you have on drainage of that area, so in that case your drainage, your cafe, and in that case your commercial area becomes most important. So if a case study demands that you do a services sort of an understanding, or if it's a corporate office, it's very important to study the firefighting and the BMS of that space, that is your building management system. It's very important to sort of study the camera layout as well. So this is something which you can, go ahead and work on them. Photo understanding, I think we've already done. Why? Because this is something that we've sort of covered in the materials, textures and lighting mood points. Again, if there are any additional photographs, you can just definitely go ahead and, make a very nice, collage out of it, just to understand. Along with that, if you can add like a color palette, just showing what are the different colors used, what are the different materials used, if there was any idea behind that. And this is something, even if it's not given in your case study, you could go ahead and make it on your own. This is like a 2-minute job on PowerPoint, and PowerPoint is something which is a very, very handy tool when it comes to a case study. Next, the most important point I believe of this case study is understanding your inferences and conclusions through your own presentation. Whether you feel that how feasible the design is, it in any either of your drawings or your images, or at the end of your slide, at the end of your presentation, just mention what were the positives of that space, what were the the negatives that you understood from that space, what were some of the pros and some of the cons. You could again do a SWOT analysis as well. SWOT, I will have to like take another video on SWOT because SWOT is that huge. Again, strength of your design, the strength of that design, what is the weakness that you feel that could be better, was there any opportunity that was sort of missed by the designer, and any threat that you have to the design. So this is a little advanced case study, but I've just mentioned it if you all want to give it a try. Especially for architectural case studies, this is something that you could give it a shot. And basically just writing what is your point of view of that case study. This could be written like a review. It could be in your in your own language, in your own words. Here I have successfully made like an entire case study demonstrated to you. Go ahead and try it out. These again, the link has been attached to the description, and if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel and never miss another update from us. And yes, the serial designer signing out.